Colombian international and superstar James Rodriguez has had an up-and-down term at Real Madrid, to say the least, since signing for a sensational transfer fee after the World Cup 2014, in which he set it alight with some phenomenal goals and his baby-face dance moves. Things haven't been as smooth sailing as we would expect from someone with that talent at Real Madrid, falling out of favour in 2014, 2015, towards the end, I would say. And then, of course, not even getting off the bench in the Champions League final this year for Real Madrid. It seems that he is out of favour with Zinedine Zidane. Someone of that talent you'd expect to feature at some point. Is there players in that position that maybe Zidane prefers? Because Isco plays similarly to him in that role, who Isco doesn't even get a starting position every week either. So you have to pose the question, with that amount of value, with that huge wage cap that is going along with James Rodriguez, he gets paid a phenomenal amount week in, week out. Is he worth the money? Is he worth staying on at Real Madrid, or should he look to move elsewhere?
Do you know how much that transfer was, Francis? 2014 after the World Cup?
I believe it was, is it 80 million euros?
It is 80 million.
Yeah.
I think
euros,
pounds.
I think it was.
Euros, okay. I always get confused with the symbols. I know what dollar signs look like because I grew up in America. So don't kill me for not knowing exactly what the
No, it's
L
still a ridiculous transfer fee.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous transfer fee. So what has he been worth the money? No, 80 million of anything. Yen, pesos, doesn't matter.
Chocolate buttons.
Chocolate buttons, whatever you want to call it. 80 million cookies on the bench during a Champions League final is not worth it. That's too much money to have left to not be playing. Should he leave? Well, I think yes, but I don't think it's not like an immediate fix for James himself. So, first of all, he was not in great favors with Rafa Benitez.
Yeah.
It wasn't great with Zinedine Zidane. He lit up the World Cup. He had a few spectacular goals, and we were swayed by it. Part of a counter-attacking system that, when it clicks, is one of the best in the world, but when it doesn't, as we kind of saw during the Copa America run, and when they fall off the face of the earth defensively too, 80 million, too much money. That value you can get, I think you're better off with Isco in that role. I think you can find anybody for 10 or 15 or 20 million euros to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
You could find somebody for no euros to sit on the bench.
Very true. But I like the point you mentioned
where was
about
he
the
linked?
system.
He's linked to Premier League.
And you wouldn't believe where he's linked.
Manchester.
West Ham.
West Ham, to go with Payet.
West Ham, because Payet has vowed that he loves West Ham. He's going to stay put.
If you're going to pay somebody 80 million pounds or euros or cookies, whatever it is, maybe you should be making him a focal point of your entire team.
Yeah.
So maybe, I can't believe I'm going to say there's a rejuvenation of James Rodriguez 2 years after the World Cup, or maybe we were just blown away by lightning in a bottle.
I think what you're going to allude
I don't mean
to,
to
which
hate,
I'm,
I don't
no,
mean to
I
hate
think,
on
no,
him.
it's not hating on him, Jason. It's alluding to the real problem that is
Money.
part of football around the world, is we are sheep. Football fans are sheep. We will fall, bah, whoa, that's a great player, bah, I want to sign him 100 million, bah. Brilliant. Paul Pogba has a good couple of seasons. Yes, I think Paul Pogba is a great player, but when someone says 100 million, we just follow along with it, and we're like, this is great. We'll just watch this guy, and if he does it, great. If he doesn't, whatever. We still got to see a guy move for 100 million, and I think it's a fundamental problem in the game. And I think that it happens when we pay, nowadays in football, we pay for potential more than what we pay for actually given proven talent. We'd rather pay 100 million for a Paul Pogba than go and pay a 20, 30 million to a player who's consistently done it, and we know you're going to get that value for it, because everyone likes to be the person behind the next big thing.
Different role, but somewhat similar in terms of this idea of, like, why pay for this when you can go out and get that? Mm-hmm. So why pay for James 80-something million, 60-something million? Get Wijnaldum, who's also on a lot of Premier League teams' radars. I know, different roles.
Million?
I get it. I think it's around
No, similar. I think you can make the comparison.
The comparison being made, though, is like it's 40 million-esque less, 40 million-ish cheap pounds, cookies. Again, doesn't matter what the currency is. Actually, it does, because like the difference between like yen, pesos, and euros are actually huge. So euros or pounds in that ballpark area, you can get. And sticking to the midfield, I don't have any answers for you guys. I'm not saying go out and sign this £6 million midfielder and he's going to play to the level of James Rodriguez is actually capable of. Mm-hmm. What I am saying is that, can you save your team some money to be spent later on on maybe someone that's better to make your team much better, or do you need to sell shirts? Because you sign a James, you might sell some more shirts.
He'll make money.
You sign a Wijnaldum, you're probably not going to sign too many Wijnaldum shirts in the back of your
it's hard enough to
shirt.
spell, never mind.
I know, it's
But
Wijnaldum,
James is an easy thing to put. People just walk around, we got that James on the back of our shirt.
Yeah, LeBron.
James is not
Come
bad
over.
for his West Ham team. All right, other way, a good point. Wijnaldum, 25 million, I believe, is the price tag. I talked about it on Football Republic this morning. And they were talking about Liverpool signing him. Of course, Liverpool are going to sign him.
Hey!
Liverpool
Do
signed.
not judge Klopp until we get I can't even say until he gets the title.
Jason.
Then you can go.
All right.
I'll be sitting there going, oh, is that Wijnaldum home in the Premier League trophy? Is that Wijnaldum home in the FA Cup trophy?
Is that Wijnaldum? Is that Wijnaldum? All right, either way, I mean,
No, yeah,
what I'm saying
I
is,
don't know.
of
I'm
course,
actually
it's because
not
Liverpool
sure what
signed
they're
Premier
doing.
League players. That's what that's the realm. It's like, all right, we're going to sign a team from Southampton, someone from Southampton. We've given them 92 million in 2 or 3 years. Still baffles me. Or we're going to sign players from Newcastle. But either way, West Ham are going to have to pay, obviously, a lot more money for a James Rodriguez. They'll make a lot of it back in shirt sales. But I'm thinking from a footballing standpoint, does he fit in? I see Payet being crowded by James a little bit because Payet is kind of get that free role floating in between the strikers, floating out the wide areas. James does a very similar role for Colombia. I still think James plays his best stuff for Colombia. I still wasn't blown away by him in the Copa America. But I think
No one's been blown away by him since the World Cup.
Since the World Cup, exactly. In the World Cup, he was fresh-faced. He was new. People didn't know how to really react to him because you could watch 70 minutes of him do nothing and then see that volley and just be like, sold.
Okay, so the other side of that argument, though, is that he can still mature. He's 25.
Yeah, he's young. He's not.
But maybe it's I think this could be maybe 28, 29 years old, a little bit maturing. Maybe he slows down a little bit, and that actually helps him become more patient of a player, potentially.
It's all about system as well. Like, what system? Like, from what I've seen of James, again, I don't like to make this comparison as if the Premier League is the toughest league to play in the world. But for a player like him, who the physicality of the Premier League is something that I don't think he will be able to adjust to as quickly as someone who's already playing and proven in that league. I could see a very similar case in which we see with the likes of Shaqiri, who takes a little bit to get into that role. Sometimes it's an adjustment that can't be as made as quick, but then you see Payet come in and Amares come in, bang, instantaneous, even though you don't expect it. But James is going to come in with that expectancy. So unless he takes off like Mahrez, you're instantly going to judge him. You're instantly going to be looking to the negative side unless he takes things by storm.
If he does go to West Ham, I do hope it stays as Payet's team. I think Payet's deserved it.
Yeah,
to be
of
his
course
team.
he has. And he's placed allegiance to that team. We see Mahrez now
Yeah,
being
he
linked
did
to
say,
move.
he said, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm not fucking leaving. Insert the Wolf of Wall
here.
Street.
I'm right here. I want an app that lets me know about 10 seconds before any Payet free kick next season, so I can just live stream
alert.
it.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, right this second is a Payet free
It's going in. It's the 90% chances it's going in. But the only so here's the substance why West Ham have been linked. This isn't just a ridiculous rumor, and I actually like this rumor because again they put something around it. So with their sharehold in the new stadium, the Olympic Stadium, they have some cash freed up. They have some cash freed up where they can offer a larger amount of wages and a larger amount of money. So they actually offered former Hammer, Carlos Tevez, £150,000 a week, which he snubbed because, let's be honest, Carlos Tevez is not making any moves for his career at the moment. He likes to be home. He's a home bird. He moved from Juventus, Champions League final, almost win it, and he moved back to Boca Juniors. So the guy's not moving. He's not going to be swayed by money at this point in time. I think he's just happy to be home. But that same amount of money that they could offer him might sway James, and I would love to see this happen because it's not your Manchester United's, Man City's, Chelsea's coming in with that level of expectancy where he comes in and expects to perform. I think he gets a little bit of leeway if he goes to West Ham, a team that's growing. He's got some talent around him. Maybe he'll get more of the focus. Not as much pressure. And like you mentioned, in Real Madrid, he came in as a huge fish and he was soon eaten alive by the Ronaldos, the Bales, who are able to take that pressure and move forward with it. If he goes into West Ham, yes, he's got Payet to play alongside, but the offense can move through him. The system can be built around his talents because him and Payet are very similar and you could potentially find a way to work with both of them. But whilst he remains at Real Madrid, James needs to, if he's going to stay there, needs to learn to take a different role in that team because his role at the moment, what he can offer, isn't enough to get my starting place.
I agree with you 100%. So I think that to answer the overhanging question here would be, should he leave? Yes.
If he stays, he needs to adjust.
He needs to adjust.
Yeah.
I do think that if Real Madrid is interested, they could pay me $80 million anything to sit on the bench.
You could do it better than him.
Relief. I'll provide comic relief. You've seen my free kick taking skills. I do not match up with Payet all too well. But again, that's just so much money on a bench.
But Jason,
you can buy a team.
Do you not realize why we just it's not been brought up enough that he sat on a bench in the Champions League final because
for $80 million.
Because people just look
How
at
much
the
does he get paid per week?
200,000.
200,000.
I think it's like 200,000 euros
pound a week.
Yeah.
200,000 euros a week.
It's a lot of money.
200,000 euros a week. 200,000
to ride the
euros
bench.
a week.
That's an expensive bench. Hit us in the comments. Let us know what you think. Francis_Maxwell, Twitter, Francis Maxwell Host. On Instagram, JasonRubin91 on both. TYT Sports. We're growing. We're getting there. With your help, we will get there. I don't know where there is, but when we are there, you'll be invited.
We'll let you know.